The other part I want to talk about of Joe Biden's press conference yesterday. Remember, Joe Biden criticized by the right for not doing a press conference for a while. Did one yesterday and took questions for nearly 2 hours. And some right wingers were saying he went on too long. The Drudge Report had a splash headline about marathon press conference. He doesn't do one and you criticize him, and then he answers too many questions and then you criticize. Give me a break, guys. One person who was extraordinarily triggered by Joe Biden's press conference yesterday, and I think it's both what was in the press conference and the fact that it's Joe Biden doing a press conference rather than him, is Donald Trump. Donald Trump putting out a statement yesterday through his Save America thing. And what he said was, how come Biden picks a reporter off a list, in all cases softball questions, and then reads the answer? I would never have been allowed to get away with that, nor would I have to. Then Donald Trump appearing with Fox News host and a radio host. I don't remember if it's Westwood One or where Mark Levin hosts his show. Right-wing host Mark Levin. And Trump is just completely triggered by the fact that people paid attention to Joe Biden. Let's take a listen.
I noticed that. I noticed a lot of things. I noticed things that are affecting the American people directly. He thinks things are going pretty swimmingly. They didn't talk about crime. They didn't talk about what's going on in the classrooms. They didn't talk about what's happening at the border. And he was there for almost 2 hours, and none of that came up. Don't you find that remarkable?
Well, crime is so bad. It's so out of control. When you look at these kids being shoved off subway stations in New York, off platforms, right into a train.
Now, that's horrible. What on earth does that have to do with Joe Biden? That we're talking about NYPD. Like, what they, on the one hand, they say, let states and municipalities do what's right for them. But it's Joe Biden's fault that something is happening on the subways of New York. It's tragic. But what does it have to do with Joe Biden?
In full speed, and a young woman's thrown right into the train, right into the face.
So as you can hear, by the way, this is downer Trump right now. Very, very down, low energy.
The train killed instantly. And then you look at what happened with the young lady selling in a furniture store, selling furniture, and somebody walks in and knifes her to death.
Horrible.
And nothing happens to these people. Nothing happens.
And the other question here, of course, when we talk about violence in cities, is they talk about dangerous Democratic run cities. As many of you know, because I've done this so many times, most cities are run by Democrats because more Democrats want to live in cities and Republicans tend to live more rurally. So really safe cities are run by Democrats. And higher crime cities are run by Democrats because cities tend to be run by Democrats. Okay, let's continue. Trump angry with the reporters during the press conference.
A commander-in-chief saying that he expects Russia to invade Ukraine. Now, don't you think Vladimir Putin heard that too?
Well, yeah, and it was like, the problem is it was like nothing's going to be done, in other words, I expect him. Now, maybe it was a mistake because it was said in the middle of another sentence and another thought. But he said, used the words, expects that he's going in. And I thought that was strange. Mm-hmm. Whether you don't want it to happen, or I just thought it was a very strange thought to be putting out there that he expects.
What great analysis from Trump, huh?
Him to go in. And nobody seems to pick it up because the reporters are the most friendly group of reporters I've ever seen. They don't even ask questions. They make positive statements and then sit down.
I really didn't see it that way. I have been endlessly critical of the press corps when Trump was president and when Biden is president. I think there are often things managed by the press corps in ways that I think don't really make sense. But that was not what took place yesterday. There were real questions asked of Joe Biden. Biden sometimes didn't even answer them. Biden was asked straight up what happened to canceling 10 grand in student debt. He literally never answered the question. He walked off, wasn't pressed on it. So I have my criticisms of Biden, of report, but it was not a friendly press conference in the way Trump is describing here whatsoever. Here's more of Trump on the press conference.
Patriots, it's a great honor to have with us.
This is from the start of the interview.
President Donald Trump. President Trump, how are you, sir?
Sir.
Hello, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great. President Trump,
good.
I imagine you saw most of this press conference. And
I did.
And Joe Biden said he's had enormous progress during his presidency. I don't see it that way. Do you?
Well, progress in destroying our country, yes. I think that's been tremendous. He also said something that I assume was a mistake, but he said he expects Putin to go in. He said, I expect him to go into Ukraine. And I thought that was a very unusual answer. I don't know if he knew what he was saying, because he said that as part of another question, and he was a little confused because he tried to correct something.
Yeah. That's part of the Biden dementia narrative, which Trump continues to push. And then, of course, at some point, it must be mentioned that Joe Biden is pushing us towards communism. And that did come up, of course, as absurd as it is.
Joe Biden says he's not moved to the left. Peter Doocy said to him, why are you trying to take the country to the left? He says, I'm a moderate. I'm not a socialist. I'm not Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
I think his actions defy that, don't they?
Well, he says all that. He said that during the debates. He said that during his debates with other Democrats.
And of course, it's true. Joe Biden has not moved us towards socialism or communism. And I would encourage anybody who believes that he has to explain exactly which policies have done so.
But it's not true. And you know what he said on energy? You look at what he said on energy. Look at what you take a look at religion. What's going on there?
Nothing.
What the stances that these Democrats.
I mean, quite literally, nothing is going on.
Radical left Democrats are taking. No, he said all of these things that were very moderate, and then he did things that nobody could believe. Bernie Sanders cannot believe what's happening. He said,
yes, Bernie is like, oh my God, Joe, you're so far left, I can't believe it.
I would have never gotten away with any of this stuff. It's not really even believable, Mark, what's happening. I mean,
so Trump audibly confused. And again, look at Biden's actions. Tell me which ones are the socialist communist ones. He did COVID stimulus, but Trump did 2 of them. He rolled out the vaccine that Republicans believe Trump made. That's not very far left. He passed a very modest infrastructure bill, and he got out of Afghanistan, which was Trump's plan. So if anytime anybody says to you, remember when Jesse Lee Peterson interviewed me in L.A., when Obama was president, Trump was president, but it was about what Barack Obama did. He said Obama was a socialist. And I was like, well, what did he do? And he's like, well, he gave some people cell phones. That was Jesse Lee Peterson's explanation. So when people say Biden is going socialist communist, ask specifically which policies are the socialistic communistic policies. I'm curious to see what people tell you. One of our sponsors is Splendid Spoon. Now, if you're like me, I love planning my meals out for the week, but sometimes I just run out of time to plan them for every single day. And Splendid Spoon makes that whole process a lot easier. They deliver fresh, delicious, plant-based meals right to your door, ready to eat. No cooking, no cleaning dishes. Saves you a lot of time. You can choose from over 50 hot and cold meal options. There's smoothies, grain and noodle bowls, soups. I'm a big soup guy. Many of you know that. I also really liked the vegan meatballs with marinara noodles. Delicious. Both I and Splendid Spoon believe eating more plant-based is a great tool for feeling good, for helping the environment. The list goes on. I'm not vegan. You all know that, I think. But Splendid Spoon is really great to just help me maximize the proportion of plants in my diet. Splendid Spoon takes all of the work out of tasty, healthy, plant-based meals. And you'll save $35 when you go to splendidspoon.com/Pacman. The link is down below.